Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we'll continue with the events of episode 163. In the previous episode, the mysterious 8th scenery palace of the Taiching Sacred Realm suddenly reappeared within Huyandu Cave, a legendary immortal land shrouded in mist and spiritual energy. There, Don Thien Duc, the current master of the 8th scenery palace and the elder brother of the slain Don Thien Kai, officially declared that his brother's death would not go unanswered. Don Thien Duc was already known as one of the most terrifying young geniuses in the 2V ancient star domain. 10 years ago, he defeated countless sect masters before entering the ancient 8th scenery palace, a sacred place created over 2,000 years ago by Laozi himself after descending from the stars. No one truly knew how powerful he had become, but many believed he was rising like a young great emperor. As news of his order spread across the world, everyone believed the man he targeted was already doomed. Meanwhile, Deep Pham was still grieving after the great battle beyond the stars. 1 month earlier, Old Madman had taken the Purple Bronze warship and all the ancient royal ancestors into outer space, never to return. Only a blood-stained fragment of saintly bronze fell back to the earth. Deep Pham understood clearly that Old Madman had sacrificed himself to secure peace for the human race. None of the ancient royal ancestors returned alive, but the invincible human saint had disappeared forever as well. After the storm gradually settled, Deep Pham began traveling across the 2V ancient star domain, learning about its major factions while secretly refining the dried divine source he had brought from the northern Dipper star region. Inside that divine source was sealed an ancient king with a dragon head and human body. Although the creature was nearly dead, Deep Pham still used the Battle Saint technique to form a devouring black hole, erasing the final traces of its life force to prevent any future disaster. At the same time, all of Lo Chao was discussing the fact that Deep Pham had killed Don Thien Kai. Most people believed he had chosen the path of death by provoking Don Thien Duc, whose reputation now dominated the younger generation of the 2V star domain. But Deep Pham showed no fear. After witnessing Old Madman's sacrifice, his mood had already sunk to its lowest point. He did not wish to create enemies everywhere, yet he refused to bow before anyone. Soon, rumors spread about those who might act on Don Thien Duc's behalf while he remained in seclusion. Among them were the terrifying Taiyan divine son Don Mok Min, the Golden Crow 6th Crown Prince Luke Nha, and the mysterious Taoist Tam Kuyat from the ancient Min Lin Dao Temple. Everyone believed that if Don Thien Duc could not leave his closed cultivation, these 3 supreme geniuses would personally move to kill Deep Pham. Despite this, Deep Pham remained calm. He had already reached the Saint Master level, possessed an unmatched physical body, and mastered the unparalleled Xing secret technique. Since the 2V star domain lacked extreme Dao Emperor weapons, he no longer needed to hide his strength. More importantly, this ancient world contained countless legends connected to ancient China. Deep Pham began suspecting that hidden star paths linked the Northern Dipper, 2V, and even Earth itself. Soon after, Deep Pham arrived at Thien Lang Mountain, one of the most famous sacred lands of the demon race in Lo Chao. The current master, the Old Wolf God, was celebrating his 2800th transformation anniversary, drawing sect masters and geniuses from all directions. The mountain itself resembled a gigantic divine wolf howling toward the moon. Towering cliffs, ancient trees, endless waterfalls, and overwhelming spiritual energy made the entire region feel like a divine realm. Using the Xing secret technique, Deep Pham walked directly through countless ancient formations and entered Thien Lang Manor despite having no invitation. The disciples guarding the entrance immediately treated him as an honored guest after witnessing his incredible movement technique. Inside the manor, experts from every major faction had gathered. During the discussions, people mentioned that the Human King Palace had also sent representatives, while Taoist Tam Kuyat was transporting half a page of an ancient scripture to exchange with the Human King Palace. Even a single half-page scripture was enough to move supreme figures, proving how extraordinary it truly was. Then suddenly, several blazing streams of solar true fire descended from the sky. A group of young men clad in golden feather armor appeared before the manor. They were members of the Golden Crow clan. Their arrival instantly changed the atmosphere. The Golden Crow clan was currently at the peak of its power, possessing 10 crown princes, each with terrifying Saint Master strength. Among them, the strongest was 6th Crown Prince Luke Nha, one of Don Thien Duke's sworn brothers. Everyone knew that Luke Nha was passing through Lo Chao and would likely act against Deep Pham on Don Thien Duke's behalf. One of the Golden Crow youths unfolded a wanted portrait of Deep Pham and arrogantly declared that wherever Luke Nha appeared, Deep Pham could only flee. The crowd remained silent. Few dared provoke the current Golden Crow clan. Seated quietly in a corner drinking tea, Deep Pham calmly observed everything. Even after hearing that the Golden Crow clan possessed 10 terrifying crown princes, he still showed no intention of retreating. Soon, several Golden Crow youths noticed him. After comparing his face to the portrait, they approached and aggressively questioned his identity. Deep Pham calmly placed down his teacup and replied that he was a guest, not a criminal to be interrogated. When he finally raised his head and spoke his name, Deep Pham, the Golden Crow youths instantly stepped backward in shock. They never expected the man hunted by Don Thien Duc to appear openly at Thien Lang Mountain. One Golden Crow youth pointed at him and shouted angrily, but Deep Pham immediately slapped him flying. Golden blood sprayed everywhere as bones shattered. Still seated calmly, Deep Pham coldly asked, "Just because Luke Nha is passing through Lo Chao, I'm supposed to hide?" The Golden Crow youths realized they were no match for him and tried to leave. But Deep Pham took a single step forward and sealed the surrounding space with divine power. When the Golden Crow youths accused him of going too far, Deep Pham merely sneered and replied that it was the Golden Crow clan who acted arrogantly first by carrying his wanted portrait around. The disturbance quickly drew countless sect masters and young geniuses over to watch. Once they realized this was the man who killed Don Thien Khai, everyone was stunned. They could already sense a monstrous conflict approaching. Luke Nha had not even arrived yet, and Deep Pham was already suppressing the Golden Crow clan openly. The Golden Crow youths tried to argue that they had only questioned him, but Deep Pham stomped one of them into the ground, crushing his bones. Another Golden Crow shouted that Deep Pham had become an enemy of the entire Golden Crow clan. Deep Pham answered with another brutal slap, smashing the man's head into his chest before coldly declaring, "If you want to become my enemy, that's your choice. It has nothing to do with me." Then he swept his gaze across the crowd and spoke words that shocked the entire manor. "Forget the Golden Crow clan. Even descendants of ancient emperors would still be crushed beneath my feet." The entire Thien Lang manor fell silent. Everyone understood that from this moment onward, Deep Pham and the Golden Crow clan had become irreconcilable enemies. Soon after, Lang Thien Da, the strongest young disciple of Thien Lang Mountain, personally stepped forward to stop the conflict. Out of respect for the old wolf god's birthday celebration, Deep Pham agreed to spare the Golden Crow youths. However, before releasing them, he destroyed 10 years of their cultivation with a single strike. The Golden Crow youths nearly went insane with rage. To cultivators, losing 10 years of cultivation was even worse than death. Yet Deep Pham remained completely indifferent. From that moment onward, the name Deep Pham truly began spreading throughout the 2V ancient star domain. Not long later, over 10 golden lights tore through the sky and descended upon Thien Lang Mountain. The 9th Crown Prince of the Golden Crow clan had arrived. And beside him was none other than Luke Nha himself. Although it was only one of Luke Na's incarnations, his appearance still shook the entire mountain. This was a legendary genius who had slain dragons and heavenly pangs at a young age, a terrifying figure whose hands were stained with the blood of countless sect masters. The two Golden Crow princes walked side by side like ancient golden war gods, their overwhelming aura twisting the surrounding air. Many young women stared at Luke Nha with admiration, while sect masters personally greeted the two princes with great respect. After learning that Deep Pham was still calmly drinking tea inside the manor, the 9th Crown Prince's expression darkened. He coldly declared that if not for the old wolf god's birthday celebration, Thien Lang Mountain would already be drenched in blood. But what shocked everyone even more was that Deep Pham still refused to leave. The injured Golden Crow youths immediately returned to the hall, mocking him loudly now that they had support behind them. Deep Pham only replied with one icy word. "Get lost." He waved his hand dismissively as if swatting flies. When one Golden Crow youth attempted to relay the ninth Crown Prince's message, Deep Pham directly slapped them all again. Several loud smacks echoed through the hall as the Golden Crow disciples flew hundreds of meters away like dead dogs, collapsing outside the mountain gates. The entire crowd was horrified. This was no different from publicly slapping both the ninth Crown Prince and Luke Nha in the face before the entire world. The ninth Crown Prince's expression instantly turned murderous. It seems I'll have to personally enter and begin a massacre. Lang Thien Da hurriedly tried to stop him, but the ninth Crown Prince coldly replied that if he did not kill Deep Pham today, he would not be able to answer to the ancestors of the Golden Crow clan. And so, he demanded that Deep Pham come out immediately, declaring that no one in Thien Lang Mountain could protect him. And that is the end of episode 163. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the latest episodes and upcoming battles.